Hello everyone, Jaime Mantilla here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build this mock test data generator app. Okay? This started just because in my profession as a software engineer, this is something that you normally need in order for you to test applications, right? So I was like, okay, well let me just try to build something just to see if it's even possible. Before I kind of show you the rest, here's my dashboard of applications that I'm working on, that I've been deploying. Here are some of the apps that I already completed and I'm sharing with the community. So here's the Git repo. You can actually come here, clone it. I just posted a video also on how to clone a repo. So that's, part of the information that you will be getting within my training and my community. But I wanted to share that with you because, again, this is not impossible. It's something that is pretty simple. If you know English, if you know how to type, if you know how to put ideas into paper, I'm sure that you would be able to do this as I'm able to do it as well. Okay, I haven't had to touch or write a line of code. Right now, all I'm doing is kind of copy pasting. There's another application that I'm going to be posting a video pretty soon, which is Courses.ai. Which has blown my mind because now I don't have to do the copy pasting and now the code will be generated as we speak. But again, that's some of the things that I've been experimenting and that's what I wanted to share with you, part of my journey. And, if it adds value to you, that's kind of what I'm looking for, okay? So this is the mock generator prompt that I use to build this app, okay? I'm just going to read it. That way, you kind of have the idea. This is something, again, that you can do yourself. And this is what it says. So you're familiar with other videos, kind of using the same thing of what is working, right? You don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to try different things. If you have already working, of course, you want to optimize. But in this case, this has been working for me. So that's what I'm going to continue to use. If I see that there's opportunity to optimize, I will do that. I'll share with you. But this is where it started, okay? So you're a Python engineer and your task is to build an app using Python and Streamlit. Please use a solid coding standards to keep code organized and build unit tests to make sure everything works as expected. Here's the app idea you want to build. So it is a mock test data generator. The description is generates mock data for testing purposes based on user-defined criteria. The features are to generate data for various formats, JSON, XML, CSV, etc. Define fields, data types, and constraints. Export test data for use in testing environments. Predefine templates for user data, financial data, etc. Make a build app ideas using Python and Streamlit. Provide detailed instructions for each file, comments to understand code structure, unit tests, readme.md, and so forth. Okay? So again, if you don't have an idea in your mind, you can go to ChatGPT and try to get ideas. That is part of a training video that I have as well. How to do prompt engineering, the required items of prompting, and so forth. So again, it is all about experimenting and trying things out. Okay. In this case, I had the idea in my mind. I posted exactly how it came up in my mind and posted directly into Claude, which is the application that I'm using to generate code. And again, I want to create another video with Courses.ai and it's going to be amazing. It's going to blow your mind because it's blown my mind already. So if we take a look at the structure, as you know, you have the code structure. It gives you the files that need to be created, the JSON generator implementation test, a Streamlit application interface, the readme.md, and then the requirements.txt, which are the libraries or dependencies in order for you to run the app. Okay, so it gives you to get started with the application. It pretty much gives you everything. Create the structure as shown in the first artifact. Copy each file's content into appropriate location. Insert the requirements by running that command. Run the unit test by running that command. Start the application, and the application follows the solid standard and explains what it is. So, as you know, Claude sometimes gets stuck and it doesn't finish writing the code. So I say, hey, provide the code for the remaining files. So it gives you the XML CSV generator, template system implementation, validators and constraints implementation, and additional unit tests. Okay. So again, the instructions are in my community. All you have to do is follow the instructions, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Then if you see an error, you have to troubleshoot. So it's a matter of iterating, putting the errors within the system or within Claude. Claude will give you an updated file, and then you kind of go back and forth until you get the application up and running. Okay. So again, continue to give you instructions. Could you update the unit test to run using PyTest? Is that something you recommend? Again, you're asking. Just pretend that you are very inexperienced and you're working with a senior developer, and this senior developer is very friendly and willing to do anything that you need to do, right? So just ask it and have that conversation. You have this person or this agent or this intelligence, which is a machine, which is more powerful than your brain, of course, is going to generate an output based on your input, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So if you're going to give it a prompt that is crap, then you're going to get crap back. But if you think things thoroughly and you give it good instructions, you break things down, it'll give you very good outputs that you can use to create these type of applications. Okay. So again, I ask it to use PyTest, which is what I've been using before. It gives me a PyTest files, the PyTest data files. Sometimes it gives it to you in one blob. So in this case, would be like one. I don't know. You could call it a file that it generates, and then within this file, you would have like more other things, other code that would apply to different files. So you just have to be careful as to what you copy. Don't copy everything all the time. You gotta see what's out there. It normally puts comments in the code. That way you know, okay, well, this one pertains to PyTest, this one pertains to coverage RC, this one pertains to requirements.txt, and so forth. Okay. Tells you how to run it, how to debug it, temporary directories, all that good stuff. And then when I ran it back then, this was like a month ago, I just pasted the error. Oh, I see the issue. We needed to ensure all the necessary imports are included within the file. So again, gives you more files. I'm not making this up. This is like for real. What I'm doing is typing in English what I want. It's giving me code on the language that I ask it to give me code. And then I go into Visual Studio and I create the structure. In this case, you have the source, you have the data types, you have the constraints, fields on the generators, you have the base generator, CSV, JSON, XML. On the templates, you have a base template, financial and user template, and then utilities, you have validators, right? And then the test should have tests for the generators and tests for the templates, okay? So then once you tell it, hey, this is not working or this is working, or hey, I want you to make changes, it'll give you the structure again. In this case, make sure the user directory, it tells you what it needs to have on each directory structure. Here, I was trying to generate the test and I got errors. And at this point in time, it may not be perfect. I have not touched it in a month, but if it works as expected, I'm going to commit the code and publish it. Okay. So I'm going to do that in a minute once I kind of go through this real quick, just to make sure that it runs. Right now it's running. I want to make sure that the tests are running as well. But with that said, once this is available, I will post it into GitHub. I will put it in the community under the app repos, and then you can clone it and, use it as you please. Again, more errors and so forth. Okay, but I don't want to bore you to this. This is something that you're going to be trying for yourself. These are all the errors and all the things that I've been doing. Just chatting. This was, I don't know how many minutes, probably within an hour conversation, less than 30 minutes, kind of going back and forth, and then having the application. But this is the application, right? So at this point in time, what I want to do is, so this is the app, and I want to make sure you know what it does, right? So in this case, I'm just refreshing, and you have different fields. So you have defined fields where you have a custom, where you can actually say, okay, what is this field name and what is the type that I want to generate? So is this a name, a phone number, an address, whatever, right? Do you want this to be nullable? So do you want this specific field to be able to have a null value or not? So you kind of use this as you please, and then you click generate data and it'll generate data based on the information that you input. The output would be in JSON, CSV, or XML, and I'm going to try that here right now. And then how many records do you want? You want 10, you want 100, you want 50. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it as default, and I'm just going to work with the templates that we already have set up for user data and financial data. I want to go back to the code and read the README so that you have an idea of how it is structured. So the data generation, so the mock data in multiple, so we know this, in multiple formats. Custom numbers are from 1 to 1,000, preview generated data before download, and export data to different formats, okay? So the field types that support is a string, integer, float, email data, boolean name, templates are these two. You can actually add more if you want. Field configurations. So it gives you pretty much everything that it has, but at this point, once I'm done, I would tell it, hey, if I have to update something, I would say, hey, update the README to make sure that it has all the required updates. All right, so I'm just gonna have it create user data, and I want it right now in JSON file, and then we can try the other formats. So I'm just gonna click generate. This is the preview, so it's showing 5 out of 10. So it gives you a sample of 5 with 10 out of 10 records. So the username would be this, the email would be this, the first name, last name, date that they joined, and it's active. And again, this is mock data, depending on the use case scenario that you're trying to test or generate data for your business or for whatever you're trying to do. Then you would have to modify the code a little bit so it gives you the right output. But in this case, okay, let's say I'm pleased with the records. I want to download the JSON. So I'm just going to open it up, Visual Studio to open it with, I'm fine with, and this is all the data, right? So we have 10 records right here, okay? Now I want the same thing, but I want it to do in XML, okay? So this is the record. Maybe it's working, maybe it's not. I'm not sure. So let's see, download XML. Let's make sure that it opens up. Let's do Visual Studio. That's fine. All right. So this is the XML structure that it generates for that specific data. Okay. This is valid. And then let's try the CSV for user data. Same. It gives you a JSON structure of what the sample of the data is, but the output would be whatever format you selected. In this case would be a CSV file, which is like a Excel file, but it's comma delimited. And you'll see that, okay? So if we increase this, you see there is 10 records with username, email, first, last, data joined, and active, okay? And that is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the ID, which is, 5674. All right. Now, let's try the same thing with financial data. Financial data, you have transaction ID, the amount, currency, transaction date, status, and account number. Again, this may not be the account number, it may be just numeric files, but I'm just generating these for you to see the possibilities. And if somebody wants to clone this to make it more usable and make, to be applicable to the scenario that you want, you're welcome to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to go again. JSON structure for the financial. And then let's open that up. So again, transaction amount, currency, transaction date, status, account number. And I'm just going to do the XML financial data. And then I'll run the test and make sure that everything is working as expected. And then I finish the video. All right, let's see. All right, so this is it. So it's transaction amount, currency, transaction data, status, and account number. Again, it's not perfect, and it may not be output in the right format that somebody would want. An account number, I probably would say, is more of a numeric number, but now these days you can do whatever you want. Anyways, so at this point in time, I'm pretty pleased with the outcome. I want to make sure that the tests are running as expected. If they're running as expected, then we are good to go. And that's it. So this application, to me, it is good to go. Again, it's an MVP, so it's a minimal viable product. It's a proof of concept. So don't use it as is. Make sure you modify it and make it work for your use case. And that should do it. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for your time. If you have any ideas, if you want me to build something for you, if you want me to try something from, simple to medium complexity, you can add the comments below. But again, I want to thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.